Hello, everybody. Sunday Adelaja here from Kyiv, Ukraine. Want to welcome all of you to this program. How to Change a Nation is the name of the program. It's the title of the program. And I want to use this opportunity to invite you to go ahead and call on your to go and call on your friends and your family members and invite them to join us in this program. So what we're having today is spreading the kingdom of God through arts, But today is not just going to be about art. This video, I picked it intentionally, and the reason why I picked it is because this week we've had a lot of news around me going on, those who like what I'm doing, those who don't like it, and then the Elijah challenge. All right, so a lot of the comments that are coming in are saying, you don't know Nigeria, you've been out of Nigeria for too long, you are not feeling the pain, why should you support Atiku? I used to like this pastor, I don't like him anymore, now I'm going to unfriend you. People are behaving as if following me is what is giving me my salary, is what is putting food to my table. I'm doing everything for free. I am spending money so that you follow me. So you are not helping me by following me at all. I don't even know you exist. I don't even know if you are alive or not. So most of these people who are saying this are people I don't even know. I don't even know they follow me, they don't follow me, I don't care. I'm just doing what I need to do. But they create an impression as if they get mad, then that's going to change me. No, it's not. I'm not following public opinion. I've overcome public opinion a long time ago. But I want to keep on doing what I need to do. So this particular How to Change a Nation series that we are doing, this particular one, is going to be about art, but just a little about art. But I picked it up because the art that we are going to show and the part of the art we are going to show, it was demonstrated during my birthday when I was having my birthday in the church, and the history of my life was being told. So I think this is a perfect one for this particular segment, because so that Nigerians who are saying that I am ignorant and I'm gullible and I'm wicked and for supporting Buhari and that I am insensitive and I'm this and that, so that they will be able to hear a little of my story, that no, I know what poverty is. They say, oh, you are living over there comfortably in Europe. You don't know what poverty is. No, I know what poverty is. Oh, you don't know what pain is because everything is good in Europe. Well, I know what pain is. Oh, you don't know what we are going through in Nigeria. Well, I lived in Nigeria. I went through a lot of that. Maybe some of the things that I went through, maybe some of you have not even experienced it yet. So this video is going to be talking about art on one hand, but it's also going to be talking about my journey. It's going to be talking about my story. It's going to be doing a lot. It's going to be talking a lot about my, my biography, and even my experience here in Ukraine with the Ukrainian government, with the Ukrainian people, Ukrainian government. You know, I am used to telling my mind and changing the public opinion. I am not the type that submits to public opinion, but I'm the one that comes to change public opinion. And because of that, when you are coming to change public opinion, to alter what people are used to, it is normal that people will fight you anywhere. So here, this is exactly what I've been doing for the past 30 years. I'm changing and challenging the status quo. And because I've been busy challenging the status quo here, people have hated me and people have fought me. So I'm used to people fighting me and being in disagreement with me. But in Nigeria, people are still trying to change me and try to make me become like them. No, I am coming to change you guys. If you don't know, get ready for it. I am coming to change the way Nigeria is. I am coming to change the way Nigerians think. I'm coming to change your attitude and response and reaction to life. And I am coming to challenge everything that you have always done and believed to be right. That is what reformers do. That is what revolutionaries do. That is what history makers do. And that is who I am. And those are the kind of people that I'm raising around me. Yeah, I know I'm going to be hated, yeah, but that's just at first. But by the time I get on the ground and we begin to produce results, even the most passionate enemies and critics of ours will be forced to recognize the sense and the reason in what we are doing. So we're going to start with the art, how to spread the kingdom of God with, through art. And this kind of art that we're going to be talking about today is European art. It's totally strange to Africans. But I want to show this as an example of cultural differences. And for those of you who are for those of us who are coming to Europe to want to minister, so that we will learn that until we learn their ways and learn to do things in the way that people in that country understand, we might not be effective. So if you are living in Europe and let's say you are living in the UK, and let me tell you this, I'm going to show you this art today. What I discover is that the UK people, they come here to get even my members to come and perform in the UK. But when they perform and they bring the video back, there are no black people in the hall. Maybe one or two, but normally no black people in the hall because we don't understand this culture. But what I'm saying is that, yeah, you don't need to like their art. I'm talking about opera. I'm talking about classical music. I'm talking about ballet. I'm talking about, you know, classic, yeah, the academic choir. I'm talking about things like that. So these are European cultural art. And if you want to influence them and you don't speak that language, you don't understand what this means and how it works, I'm not very sure that you are going to, you know, be effective in reaching out to the white people, to the Europeans. You might be reaching out to your people, to African people, but you will not be too effective in reaching out to Europeans. But let's go ahead to the video. Let's see this video and you will understand better what I'm talking about right now.
Добрый вечер! Мы приветствуем всех вас снова в этом зале.
Добрый вечер, народ Божий!
Аллилуйя! Воздайте Богу великую славу! Мы просим всех занять свои места, потому что сейчас будет нечто необыкновенное.
Слухов и сплетен вокруг имени Сандея Аделаджи ходит масса.
Around the name of Adelaja, and sometimes they're so foolish, but people that have lived 70 years in the regime of Soviet Union, they have learned to take everything that they show on TV and everything that they read in the newspaper to take it for truth.
So what they are saying is that because at this point as well, there were a lot of, you know, articles about me in the newspapers, a lot of films about me in on the television, and everybody's talking about me, some rumors, some fake news, some, you know, just different kind of things. This is normal for me. People always talk about me because when you come to challenge the culture of the people, they will fight back. And the only thing and anything they could fight they could find to fight back, they will apply it, including, and the cheapest and the easiest is slander and is character assassination. So that's what he was saying, that around the name of Adelaja, there is a lot of noise and a lot of rumors and a lot of controversies. And that, but because people believe what they see on television and they believe what they hear in the news. So they just take them to be truth because they are coming in the national news. And so that's what he was just saying right there. Okay, let's continue.
There are a lot of flowers in the whole world. Flowers are so different under the sunlight. Roses, black and red. There are many people in the whole world right under the sunlight, also very different. White rays, light red, black rays, beautiful rays, yellow rays, beautiful rays, and none of them has been overcome. Can you hear this? Can you hear the voices of people who crucifies? Who crucifies who? Oh, my heart.
She's talking about diversity here, about the fact that just like there are different kind of flowers, flower is a big deal. It's a big thing to Europeans, that there are a lot of different flowers, and everybody likes different flowers. There are white flowers, there are red flowers, there are roses, there are tulipans, there are different kind of flowers, right? And everybody like them. They find what they like in each flower. And God, they make life beautiful for us. So that is, she's saying that is how we also have many nationalities and many skin color. We have black, white, yellow. We have different people, and that God made this diversity to, to be able to show us His heart, that He loves everybody the same. Everybody is great. Because in Ukraine, one of the main factors of attack that they use against me is the fact that I am black. And I am a, monkey, and I'm a Negro, and that, someone like this cannot teach us. And that is a disgrace and a shame for black people to teach them life and to lead them. So, so that's why she's talking about that. Okay, here we go.
Please, we have to differentiate the enemy. There is God, there is enemy. We have to differentiate. For all people, the time will come, the spring will come. People, white, yellow, and black. 3 times I have been crucified, and I will resurrect. My dear friends, our celebration is still going on, and today we have a double celebration. We congratulate Pastor Sunday on his birthday. Happy birthday! Give praise to the Lord for Pastor Sunday.
So look at this lady. Stop. Look at this lady, for example. She's in the theater group, right? No, so this is part of the theater, and what she is depicting here, and this is part of the art that we are talking about. What she's depicting here is she's depicting an angel, and you see the book in front of her. Because Sunday Adelaja is Sunday Adelaja's birthday, so she is trying to. That's one of the ways of communication, theater. So she's trying to, people in the hall understand what's going on. That okay, you are having your birthday. It's not just about you. Heaven is watching, and the angels and the heavenly hosts are watching, and there is a book written about you. Are you living in accordance to the will and the purpose of God about your life, or you have strayed away and you are just doing things that you want to do, or you are pleasing God and performing the will of God on the earth? So the whole idea of this dance that you are going to see and the performance that you are going to see is that the life that we have been given is not supposed to be all around and about us. It's supposed to be us bringing to pass on the earth what has already been written concerning us in the book, in God's book, in the heavenly book. So that's why you got an angel there. Now, what you are going to see after this is that you're going to see the opera. And opera, the reason why we have this opera dance in the church is because it is birthday, it's a celebration. So it's celebration, so we don't just have it on every Sunday. But so the opera is going to come and it's going to depict this lesson that I'm teaching you right now. But you know, when I just came to Europe at first, I never knew that when these people opera dance, that they're actually speaking. I never knew that their dances and their performances is communicating something to the audience. And I never knew that people in the audience were understanding what they were saying, what they were dancing, what they were saying in their steps and they are dancing. Because I never understood. I was just thinking, wow, this is just so worldly. And normally when I will have an opportunity to look at an opera, I would just close my eyes because I was always thinking in terms of sexuality and in terms of the nakedness of the girls and the ladies, and they're not dressed like this and that. But I was not seeing the art in it, and I was not seeing the lessons in it. So what I'm trying to say is that when you come to a different culture, it's interesting and it's important to understand the culture, where they are coming from, why they're doing what they're doing. Try to study them. Try to know, their language, their styles, and their, culture, their differences, and be able to honor and celebrate the differences of other people. All right. So, but now what they have done is that they now use this art to go and, because this is it's an expensive art. This dance, this opera that you're going to see is an expensive thing because it's a ballet, and only people who have money go to see this. And they go to, and it's always the highest elite of the aristocrats of the country. It's the elite of any society in Europe here that go to the theater to pay a lot of money to go and sit down when they really want to relax, and they go to the theater, they go to see ballet, they go to see opera, they go to, this kind of thing. So this is what we're going to be having right now. And but like I said, you could easily condemn it if you don't understand, but when you understand, you will really value it and you will really appreciate the depth of the art. So people in the church engage in these things, and because they are so good in what they do, they are able to use it to communicate the kingdom and to communicate Christ. So when you understand the culture of the land, you could actually use that culture to advance the kingdom of God. Not in the church, because the church is already, saved, but you can take it to the world and use it to reach out the people who understand it, especially the highest echelon of the society. Okay, here we go.
Invite to the stage artists of the National Theatre of Ukraine, a ballet group, and their manager Viktor Valerenko.
So they are introducing the art group right now, the ballet. See the way they are coming out. That is ballet right there. Like opera. No, not the opera you see in the television. So this is ballet. It's a form of art. In this part of Europe. So this is what I was saying, that even when our people go to Europe, England, for example, you don't see any black person. But we don't understand it. But if you want to touch the culture, you got to learn these things, because through them you can touch the culture. So this is actually telling a story. Scenarios written about it, and they are written just like you write a book, this is actually from a book. So this presentation is actually telling a story from a book. Can you imagine it? I'm a Domela boy like myself. When I just came to Europe, I was just thinking, okay, they don't have job. But I didn't know that. First of all, what happens when this is going on? People, what they say, rest. They rest spiritually, that's the way they say it, or emotionally, I think is the way they say it. So because of the music and the sound of the music, they are rested. And it's like a music therapy. So it's like a therapy to them. It makes them to relax and go away from all the confusion and all the noise in the world. So emotionally, this music, it affects people's mind, emotions, and nervous system. Then besides that, they are also being educated through what is happening, through the stories that are being told as they are dancing. But then, so those are two things. But apart from that, there is the artistic part of it, which is how, which is connected to this, the tactics and the technicality of the dances, the steps, the movements, and the technicality of it. So the technicality of it could be best understood by, of course, people who are specialists or who are trained. So they come here and they also sit down and study, the movements, and they get a lot of satisfaction even through that. But when I came first, I was just thinking, looking at their dress. That's the only thing I could see. And I was always thinking, why are they dressing? Why are they exposing themselves like this? What is this all about? But I didn't understand that this is actually much more important. I mean, much more than just the physical dance. They were actually doing a serious business. See the way they are clapping for them in the auditorium?
Мне кажется, что мы в саду Эдемском.
Stop.
Здесь...
Did you? I'm sure you will not imagine what the hostess said, what the lady that is hosting the program, what the MC, yeah. So you know what the MC said? to a Nigerian, I think, or to an African, that statement is just out of place, totally out of place. But what she said is, after this performance and this dance, I feel as if we're back in the Garden of Eden. She said they have taken us all to the heavenly places. And it's like we are right now in heaven. And in the Garden of Eden, we are in heaven. Somebody who is watching like us will say, this is not even have any connection with heaven, right? That's why culture is so important. And if you want to touch Europeans and be able to minister cross-culturally to the European people, you must understand what theater is all about, what art is all about, what opera is all about, what ballet is all about. All these things, you have to understand them. Okay, let's go.
Вальс цветов, и ангелы поют. Здесь нет всему предела совершенства. Всевышнему все...
So she's trying to interpret for us some of the things that they were saying. So those people were depicting, in the beginning I told you that it was my birthday, and because of that they were also having this art, and we are going to talk a lot about my birthday. So what those dancers were depicting, you remember the angel with the book that was open? So that's exactly what they were dancing about, that before you come, before a child is sent to the world, there were conversations. So those dances you were saying, those were angels conversing among themselves with God. the Father about this person that is going to be going to the world, and the plans of God concerning his life, what he's going to do there on earth, that is going on an assignment, and the person is going there to accomplish the purpose of God. So that's what she's trying to interpret to people, that yes, this is heaven. So those people are depicting heaven, angels, so that we are also supposed to be there, if we understand what's going on, to go there to heaven with them and to be able to experience what is happening in heaven at the point when God decided to give birth to Pastor Sunday. Okay, let's go.
Славу воздают.
And so this is the same way angels
Мы видим
every
дивный
day
свет,
are bringing glory to God.
сияние огней и ангел с книгой жизни. Что же в ней?
So the angel is still there with the book of life.
Жизнь пастора Сандея Аделаджа я
We see
пишу.
Pastor Sunday's
И
Adelaja's
книгу
life.
жизни каждый день
This is the book of his
его
life.
заношу.
What God planned for his
А
life.
можно нам хоть
Will
чуточку
he fulfill
взглянуть?
them or not?
Так интересно, но всего чуть-чуть. Более 40 лет назад
Stop.
в Нигерии
So they now, what they're now trying to do, after the ballet has expressed, God, that God was sending me to the world, now they are taking my book. I have a book that is called Olorunwa. So they are reading from, that's my biography. So what they are doing now is they went to take that book, Olorunwa, and they are writing, I wrote my story there. So they are reading that this boy was born, but before I was born, they are reading the story of how my father and my mother met, my grandmother, and so you will hear the story of my life here. And that's why I said that those people who have been criticizing me for my activism in politically and religiously, and who are saying I'm away from Nigeria, I don't understand what is happening and all that. So you will hear a bit of my story in this. That's why I think this is a perfect video for today. You will hear my story, and and you'll be able to know better that no, I'm not maybe as far from Nigeria, and I'm not as ignorant as it might look because I'm living overseas. Meanwhile, for those of you who might want to still call into the program, if you would like to contribute, you can do that by going to Move Agents. That is Facebook Messenger. If you go to Facebook Messenger, look for Move Agents, one word, Move Agents. Facebook Messenger, Move Agents. And when you get there, just write that, can I call? Or I would like to call. Can I contribute? When you write us a message, a text, SMS, then we will see it and call you back. So we'll call you back if you want to contribute, because there are a lot of interesting things that are going to be said here. And after that, you might want to contribute, actually. So they will now be telling the story of my life. So let's go.
палящим африканским солнцем произошла история, которой трудно удивить человека, немного знакомого с мировой литературой. Все очень просто.
Нигерийская принцесса влюбилась.
They are saying, we are reading from Pastor Sunday's story that this happened in a faraway continent under a scorching sun. It's a story about how one young princess fell in love with a poor boy in another town. The reason why they are talking about princess is that my mother, she's like a princess, you could say. That's in their own language. But the father of my mother was the small king, the head of the village. So that's why they call her princess. Falling in love with my father, who was just a poor guy from another town. This was Idomila village, and then the town is Ijebu-Ode. So that's what I wrote in my book, and that's what they are calling. They are making it artistic. So they are calling her princess, the son of a king, so to say, and they are making it more dramatic. Okay.
Молодого парня из бедной семьи. Ничего особенного. Это даже отдаленно не напоминает историю Ромео и Джульетты. Африканские принцессы совсем не похожи на европейских отпрысков царских семей. А уж
They are saying that this is like a story of Romeo and Juliet. Is it Juliet? Is it the way it's called in English? Romeo and Juliet? Yeah? Is it Romeo and Juliet? Romeo and Juliet, I think, yeah. So that's like, it's the same story of, Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, I'm now speaking Russian, so I can't remember. Anyway, so they're showing some slides. You see the slide of my mother there, and the picture over there, very far in the corner. Okay.
Время венценосных особ в их великолепии безвозвратно кануло в прошлое. Впрочем, дело не в банальной ситуации, а в возникших последствиях, которые напрямую повлияли на судьбы сотен тысяч людей.
Ухаживание молодого нигерийца не закончилось.
They're saying, so why are we telling this story? We are telling this story not because, there's anything special about a young man and a young woman falling in love with one another and getting married. That is not why we are telling the story. But we are telling the story because of the consequences of that relationship. Because they gave birth to a son that now has affected the lives of millions of people, and millions of people's lives have changed just because a village girl and a boy from a poor family got married or got to be in love.
Кончились свадьбой. Безусловно, пленить сердце красивой и не совсем бедной принцессы мог только достойный мужчина. Вне всякого сомнения, между ними была настоящая любовь.
Но, увы, прекрасной сказке не суждено было прийти к счастливому финалу. Причина, против которой ополчились родственники принцессы – бедность будущего супруга. Большая.
So they are telling the story about the fact that they wedded, and the mother of this pastor of this boy moved to the town of the husband, and they were living together, but their heavenly story, or their what they call it, their fairy tale, their fairy tale came to an end, and it was too short, because 6 months into the marriage, or less than 1 year into the marriage, there was a big crisis and a tragedy that led to the mother, this princess, being withdrawn from the husband into the father's house. So this, for people who know my story, you know that I've told the story that I don't know my father. I don't know my real father. I've never met him. I don't know who he is. And so that's the story they are going to tell here. Why that? Okay. Roger.
Семья приложила максимум усилий, и прекрасный юноша навсегда исчез из жизни молодой девушки.
Кто-то очень не хотел рождения именно этого будущего ребенка принцессы.
So the reason why, according to this story, why the parents and the relatives of this princess withdrew her from the husband is because he couldn't take care of her properly, the way the family expected, and the way they would have liked to take care of her. So, but they didn't know that she had already been pregnant by the time she was withdrawn from the family. But from today, looking from hindsight, we could say that this is all because there was a force working against the birth of this child that is going to go a long way to affect the world in another part of the world, in a faraway Europe. And that Satan was behind all that crisis so that this child, his destiny will be aborted.
Однако наперекор всему какое-то время принцесса и ее возлюбленный были вместе. Затем, когда все-таки, вопреки всем прогнозам, произошло чудо, и женщина забеременела, беременность затянулась на долгие 12 месяцев.
According to Pastor Sunday's story, his pregnancy lasted for 12 months. For us Europeans, we cannot understand that kind of phenomenon. It's like it cannot be true. But when we begin to study history of Africans and different phenomena in African culture, we discover that, there are actually some pregnancies that could go as long as for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And so the fact that Pastor Sunday's pregnancy was just for 2 months, 12 months, was actually not as bad as, and not as horrible as it seems to us Europeans. Okay.
В Африке такие вещи не редкость. Африканские шаманы, магия, проклятие вуду – все это приносит в жизнь тысяч людей много горя и бед. Там бывают случаи, когда беременность может длиться и до 3 лет. Подобная аномалия связана с воздействием на женщину колдовских сил, которые приостанавливают процесс развития беременности.
Эти невероятные истории для европейцев.
What we don't understand, so what we cannot understand in Europe, which sounds like spectacular story of a pregnancy going to be 3 years, is explained in African culture as some attack or some terrestrial forces that is trying to hold back the pregnancy or trying to delay the pregnancy or kill the child. That is the explanation. But also it's interesting to note that in Africa as well, when people preach the gospel or pray in the name of Jesus, that those kind of pregnancies, they become loosed and these people give birth eventually.
На женщину колдовских сил, которые приостанавливают процесс развития беременности.
Эти невероятные истории для европейцев в Африке обычное дело. Но стоит только кому-то из верующих помолиться за такую женщину во имя Иисуса Христа, она тут же рожает, потому что сила Божья превыше силы сатанинской. Через 12 месяцев после мыслимых и немыслимых сроков и ситуаций, когда на принцессу уже махнули рукой, преодолев все существенные законы и закономерности, на свет появился маленький мальчик.
Came to this earth.
So they have translation now. So what they are saying is that after the long wait of 12 months, eventually this child was born. Okay, defiling the efforts and the attacks of Satan not to let him come to this world, but it defiled all obstacles and hindrances, and Pastor Sunday was given birth to. Yep, that's it.
He was born on a Sunday, and that's why he got such a name. The young lady the child was taken away from the lady, and the baby never knew the real mother, and that's why he would always consider his grandmother to be his real mother. Uncles and
So what he's saying is that Pastor Sunday never really knew his real mother, because my mother, soon after giving birth, after a few years, she got married, maybe 3 years, and I was just 3 years old, so I couldn't remember her. So she got married to another city, another state, and I grew up with my grandmother. So my grandmother was the only one I knew as to be my mother. Okay.
months of Sunday, they were educated, and teachers, doctors in Nigeria, they are very privileged and rich people. And the baby had...
So the children of this my mom, this my grandmother, those are they are the senior sons, and those are the brothers of my mother, so to say. That they were well-to-do people, they were educated people, which was a big thing in Africa those days. You know, one of them was a professor in the university, a lecturer in the university. One of them was working in the ministry, I think Ministry of Statistics, you know, good position after being a graduate. Another lady was a business lady, teacher, was a business lady. And yeah, they were well-to-do, you know, especially when you are talking about in the context of the Nigeria of the 70s. Okay. All right.
His own car. When Sunday turned 6, there was a tragedy that came to his life. The tragedy family loses 3 children in 6 months, writes the Sunday Times, the independent newspaper.
Stop. So Sunday Times, they are reading now from the newspaper. They found the newspaper of 1973 that reported about the tragedy of the Adelaja family, how a family lost 3 prominent children in 6 months. So they are reading from that newspaper right now.
The first one was the aunt, a very famous teacher. She got into a catastrophe. Within 1 month, on 25th of September, Dimarin, the second son, died. He was alleged to have been taking a ride in his car, and that's why he was in that situation. On 21st of May this year, after a brief illness at the University College Hospital Ibadan, the second brother of Adelaja died. According to informed sources, the team of doctors who worked on the late lecture was unable to diagnose anything more than a simple attack of malaria. Here what the greatest newspaper of Sunday Times wrote from the 3rd day of June. The tragedy: family loses 3 children in 6 months. All of this, are these incidents?
So the thing about a family losing 3 children in 6 months might not look out of order in Africa, but what looks out of order is that these are the most prominent and most successful. They are not just children, but the most successful people in the family. The number 1, 2, 3, all the most successful people. After that, there were only ordinary people after that. And the 3 of them died in 6 months. That is what was unusual.
Coincidental, or has family been cursed? The atmosphere of deep mourning was over the village. When I was trying to know what was the problem, whoever I called during the week in search of possible clues to the strange deaths of the children of Adelaja family, all the people I approached, nobody wanted to discuss the matter. It was as if the mere discussion of the Adelaja family tragedy would bring bad luck to them. Old man and aged woman, the main inhabitants.
So the journalists went to the village, Idomila village, to take interview and try to talk about the tragedy of the Adelaja family. And the journalist is saying that nobody will speak to him because it's almost like even the mere discussion or mention of that family and the tragedy that happened will bring curses upon anybody that dares to discuss it. So nobody would even like to talk about it. It was such a huge tragedy that everybody avoided it like a plague, as if a mere mention of it would bring bad luck to them as well. And that's what we felt on ourselves, because everybody departed us. Everybody just forsook the family. Most people, not everybody, but most people who were close to the family just disappeared.
Of the small village simply threw their long clothes on their shoulders and disappeared into their hoods. It was a small village, and they would go down the road to give to the earth 3 children of Adelaja family.
To bury 3 children.
When for 5 minutes,
you see, the angel is still there. So the whole essence of this story and of this narrative is that God knows what is happening, and God knew that these things will happen. Because frankly speaking, if the tragedy of the Adelaja family had not happened, I would not be in Ukraine for sure. If actually it was, I think it's the eldest and the most successful of our brother, Kola Adelaja, would have been 80, I think. Is it this month? Yeah, December. It would have been 80 this month. But anyway, if all those people had been alive, there's no way I would have been here. Maybe I would not even have been born again, because at that point, nobody was born again in the family. You know, we were depending on our knowledge, on our strength, on what we knew. And so God is over every situation. God knows what is happening, and God knows how to turn everything for good, to good. Okay.
priest of that village could not say anything. For 5 minutes they would keep quiet. Then he said, "What shall we say? How shall we begin? How can we console the poor woman who has, within 6 months, terrible months, witnessed the death of her 3 children? Or how do we console a family that has lost its 3 stars in 6 months? 5 months ago we were here to bury Mr. Dimarin Adelaja and to pray to God to spare the life of Dr. Kola Adelaja and the other remaining family. Today again we are here to bury the last of the 3 key players of the Adelaja children." When the pure, was it a coincidence or it is a curse to the family? Back in 1973, when this tragedy struck the Adelaja family, young Sunday was 6 years old. That was when his family's happy childhood ended. When his grandmother heard about the death of her 3rd child, she fainted and fell to the ground. For a long time, she couldn't come back to her senses. After this shock, she spent a whole year in intensive care. All the while, Sunday was left in the care of his relatives, but really, he was by himself. An African in Nigeria worships only 3 things: Anglican religion, nature, and voodoo. Everything that happens always relates to voodoo. That's why everyone around him wanted the small Sunday with his grandmother. They might be the bearers of the curse, and that's why they wanted them to live their life and never come again back. It means to be buried still being alive. The one that have never felt it, they can't understand what 2 people that were at an island, what they would feel. If Grandma Rachel, having a small child at her hands, she was able to take into her heart the future of the grandson and cover him with love and faith in the future that comes ahead. She would call Sunday Alorunwa, which means there is God. For people of that part of the world, this name was unusual because it had such a deep sense. It was so funny to hear when a boy would be called such a name, but a grandmother probably called him like this, not just like that. She would bind it with circumstances that there were when he was being born. Probably even then she could see in her grandson what the whole world can see today and everything that the world is going to see. Being under the curse of the social opinion, being an orphan, Sunday Adelaja was not the best student in school. The feeling of rejection and when he used to be a rich person, there is no God, there is no, he decided, he concluded one day after thinking long about his destiny, this discovery hardened his heart.
Yeah, I couldn't study. The whole primary, secondary school.
Grandmother of Sunday would punish him for something. He sometimes could take all her clothes and burn it. One day, Sunday says, I took all Grandma's gold and jewelry and buried it somewhere, and up to this day nobody has been able to find it. Another time, after I was punished for something I had done, I took some kerosene, went to Grandma's bedroom, dosed the walls in kerosene, and was ready to burn the whole house.
Very stubborn child. Very
hopeless. How much patience and strength my grandma Rachel needed to forgive all the wrath that he has had, and to take him every morning to gather woods to pay for his studying. After work in forest, Sunday would come to school and sit at his desk and would sit there just looking at one point. Up till when he was 10 years old, he could not even differentiate alphabet, and of course there were less and less chances to finish school. When Sunday was 16, his grandmother died. When he found out about it, he was so shocked he wanted to take his own life. This loss was immeasurable and infinitely painful. My grandma was the only person in my life who really cared for me. She will always remain my greatest love.
because I didn't know my father or my
being moved
mother.
by the guilt and worrying because of the wrong attitude to the one that substituted him, his parents. He made the decision to be fulfilled in life and to be one of the most successful people in his life. He was the 16-year-old who undertook this serious business all by himself. Look at Alorunwa. Maybe he is not a hopeless case after all, the villagers began to say. Sometimes God allows our tragedies to make us people. In the book God's Ambassador, Sandra Delace recalls that then when our family was in need, when there probably was no hope for changes, I got a dream, and it was hard to believe, a dream to study in Europe. For the first time in his life, he would become the best out of all students, and he finished the school with the best. And one of the dreams was to apply to a university, and another one to win a scholarship to study abroad. And God made the miracle. Sunday won one of the scholarships. Once after watching the news, Sunday's attention was drawn by a religious program. In that program, for the first time in my life, I heard that Jesus loved me, that he died for me, and he has forgiven all my sins and my unrighteous living. The pastor said, I was impressed greatly, and I decided to do what the preacher was saying, namely to repent for my sins. I began to recall all my bad things I did, and especially how I hurt my grandma. It hurt me the most to realize that I cannot express my gratitude to her. After some time, I wrote a letter to my grandma. This was a letter from my heart.
Go back. Okay.
All my bad things I did, and especially how I hurt my grandma. It hurt me the most to realize that I cannot express my gratitude to her.
Okay, this boy, on. Oi. Yeah, this boy here, this is my cousin. His name now is Demore. Demore is the name of one of the sons of one of the men in one of my cousins, one of my uncles that died. One of the people that, but he never married and he never had children. So this is the boy here in white jacket. This small boy in white jacket, Afghan guy. His name is Demore right now. He's the son of my other brother Taiwo in Moscow. He's in Moscow right now, so he's named after that uncle. Okay.
Time I wrote a letter to my grandma. This was a letter from my heart.
So I wrote a letter to my grandmother.
My dearest grandma, I actually never called you grandma, only mama. Therefore, my dear, beloved, my one and only mama, I want to tell you that you are everything to me. You are my hero. I'm sorry you're no longer alive, and I'm very sorry I cannot express my appreciation to you in person. But if you can really hear me, then you should be proud of your son Alorunwa. You have given me this name, hoping that something good will come out of me. It means there is God, and indeed, God has justified this name. You died when I was 16, and you were all I had. Time flies so fast, and here, Grandma, your small son, who was abused in the village, and no one believed that something would come out of him, the one that would do so many different things. Now he is 40 years old, and your prophecy to his life has been justified. He has become a man. Your Alorunwa is turning 40. But on this, I cannot believe it myself, but on this special day, I want to, first of all, to write you this letter of thanks, to say thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for me. If it were not for you, I wouldn't be here. I owe you all that I have. You have done everything for me to have everything that I have now. And my biggest dream in life was to grow up and prove to you that all efforts that you had for me to become a real child. I went further. Your Alorunwa has won. And God has have me as his servant, and there is God indeed. I cannot hold back tears writing this letter, because the dream of all my life was to prove to you when I grow up that your efforts were not in waste, and all your sacrifices for me were not in waste. But it happened that you didn't see when I stopped being inobedient, and you didn't see how I started working, and you never heard any thanks from me. But I will be a living testimony of your memory. I want the whole world to hear about you, that I had a mother. You are my hero. You are my love. You are the one who is worthy to receive the great glory together with God for who I am now. You have taught me to work, to love people, to be not a respecter of person. You have taught me to be the best. But all changes in my life started from your death. When I got to know that I am coming by myself, my eyes were open. I understood that you lived only for me, and now if I don't start to take care of myself, there would be no one to take care of me. Thank you, my dear mother, that you have justified me. You have given me the last penny, the last piece of bread. Thank you that you have given me your life. Even being sick and ill, you would still get up with me to go and gather woods. When I would do bad things, you would tell me that I don't need anything else from this life. I just want to raise you. I do everything for you, for your sake, for you to really realize what you should do. But I would not understand this. And now, through this letter, I want to repent before you and say, my dear grandma, please forgive me. Forgive me and have mercy on me. Forgive me and have mercy on me. Thousands of times, forgive me. I know, of course, that for you it doesn't have any, it's not a matter for you, but let it be a lesson for all children and grandchildren, and all mothers, fathers, grandfathers and grandmothers, not to understand that children are rude because of but I still understand it and receive the love of a father and mother. I write this letter and I cannot hold my tears because I want you to see who I have become, and I'm sorry the most that I have never had an opportunity to thank you. The last time I saw you, you were diagnosed with cancer. I was 15 years old, and you said that I had to take care of me and I should continue taking care of, and I had to remember where I was from and not to lay down you and my village. After that time, I've seen you only once. You were dying, but I could not believe that you would die, because your death would be the end of life for me. I still believed that you would come back from the hospital home, and when I was told that you have passed away, I could not believe. Then, in tears, I ran to the end of the village to take my own life, but the villagers stopped me. They stopped me from, and so I stayed alive and decided to finish all those things that we took up together with you. I'm so sorry I've not seen it, my dear mother. I finished every single task. I never stopped believing. I worked, I took 2 lots of land, and I would grow cassava in there, and I finished school because of the word that you have taught me. Thank you for your laying those tons of hard work, diligence, endurance, and suffering. They have gone a long way to making the man that the world now calls Pastor Sunday. Through this letter, through this book that I have dedicated to you as well, I want you to know that you will always continue living while I am still alive, while I touch people and give all these virtues unto them that you have taught me.
Yeah, so that is the letter that I wrote. That letter is in my book. You know, I see that it's translation. You know, it was written in English, translated to Russian, and now English translation. Or you might not get it right, but there is a book. There is a book that tells the story of my life. That book is on Amazon. You could get it and read it for free on Kindle Unlimited, or you could buy it on Amazon. But it will be very interesting. One of the reasons why I wrote that letter to my grandma was because I was so stubborn and I was so hopeless. And I was thinking, okay, let all mothers and grandmothers who are dealing with situations, or sons and grandchildren that are stubborn, that are hopeless, let them know that there is hope for such children. And yeah, so that's why I wrote that, so that people will know that, you know what, look, that tragedy, even the fact that I lost her and I was not able to say thank you to her, affected me so much that God is using it for good now. Yep. Okay. That's.
You are the only life that I knew. You were my mom, my friend, my dad, and my grandma. I will never forget our room and the floor on which I slept until I was 15. I will never forget how we went to the forest to gather wood, how you raised me and took me along with you everywhere you went. I want to thank you once again. I appreciate everything you did for me. Let this book become an encouragement for all mothers, fathers that raise their hard children. I want to encourage you, do not ever give up, no matter how hard your children are, or maybe inobedient they are today. You have to have a hope that the seed of grace that you sow into them, once it will bring fruit. My grandma never saw the fruit of the seed of grace that she would sow into me. She didn't have an opportunity to reap that fruit while she was alive, but now today you can see and be a see the testimony that you can never leave hope for your children. You have to always sow into children and people that you think that they are hopeless. I can tell you, I was hopelessly lost. You can't imagine what things I did. It is more than any words can say. And now when I tell about this to some people,
yeah. Well, this is the book I was talking about. You see, that's the book where I'm in yellow tie. That is the book, Olorunwa is called, The Roads of Life. That's my life. And yeah, and that's beside that book with my photograph is the other book I just released this week, How Every African Nation Can Become a First World Nation. How every African nation can become a first world nation. It's out there on Amazon as well, but almost for free, for $3. When it's released officially, it's going to be $20 or over. So, you know, you could get it for anybody who cares about Africa. This book is on how every person in how every African country could become a first world nation. Okay, before I go away, let me see if anybody wants to call. If you want to call, I already said how to call. The way to call is to go to Facebook Messenger, and when you get to Facebook Messenger, look for Move Agents, and when you get there, write a note to us and SMS or a message to us and say you would like to contribute or call, and we will call you back. So Facebook Messenger, look for Move Agents, and we will call you back if you write us. So we'll take a few calls, and then we can go. So you see, the angel is still up there, and it's all talking about that God has a role to play in the life of every one of us, and He has seen the end from the very beginning. And you see that's why the angel has a book, and so they are depicting it in an art form to let us know that, you know, God has planned your life out. Don't be discouraged. Don't give up on God. Don't be angry at God. God will see you through, and will make sure that everything passes. Like me, I never saw my father, but God just, and even my mother, I only got to see her from when I was like 12 years old or so. So, you know, God knows how to orchestrate your life and make things, you know, work out for good if you trust in Him and believe in Him. Okay, do we have a caller? Hello? Okay, I think somebody wants to call, so we are going to try to get the callers and see what people got from this, because, you know, when there's this translation, especially with the Russian accent, I'm not sure if you'll be able to understand what they're saying. But yeah, that's the story of my life. So how to change a nation? Bonjour, ça va? Just now, we'll call you back. I heard there is a noise. I heard there is noise over there. So we are going to call him back. I think there is a technical issue. Now that David at us, I lose at David should be a lecture. So, and then so anyway, while we are still trying to go and get the caller who is innocent from France, there's another book here you see on this page, on the screen. It's called The Beauty of Nigeria's Diversity. That is my gift for the political process for my country during this election period, because election is bringing a lot of hatred and a lot of anger, a lot of separation and division to people. And so that's why I wrote that book, The Beauty of Nigeria's Diversity. By the way, this couple, these people they are showing there on the screen now, that is Crouch, that is Matthew Crouch, the president of TBN. TBN is Trinity Broadcasting Corporation. That is the son of the founder. So he's the one running it, managing it now. He was speaking for me that year. So he came to visit us with his son. That is his son there with him. So anyway, so we have this book, The Beauty of Nigeria's Diversity, where I think that if you read that book, everybody who reads that book will fall in love with Nigeria again. In fact, you will not like, you will fall in love with everyone. You will not like Nigeria to ever be divided or separated, because you will just discover that, wow. So we are so privileged to have so many nationalities and so many people groups in our country. It is not a disadvantage. It is actually a great, great blessing. And that's one of the greatest things that we have, the diversity of our people. The fact that we have over 250 nationalities making up one country. Wow, that's the blessing of Nigeria. Hello?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, I think I think we'll be able to hear you this time now.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
I was saying that I'm not sure if you remember the last interview we had about the conversation with
Gromshe. Can you speak right into the microphone, into the device, so that it could be louder?
Okay, how about now?
Yes, much better now.
Okay, I said I'm not sure if you remember the last interview we had about the conversation with an atheist. That was the third part I brought about. I asked you a question of how we can harmonize Christianity, to blend in with the African culture. When I say African culture, I'm talking about the aesthetics, I'm talking about the philosophical, the poetry, the art. So when I saw this video popped up to my timeline today, I said, okay, that's interesting. Let me click on it. So when I saw the whole video you were playing, and then there was another question I asked you again about a visit you made to, I think, Netherlands.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that was New Zealand, yeah.
Exactly, New Zealand. And there were these cultural people in the church, and they were just these adrenaline dance that they do, and I was so amazed by it. So I started posing myself this question because the video, the teaching you just did today, it's one of the most important aspects that is being misunderstood in Africa, because for a very long time now, Africans have been battling, they have been trying hard to find a way how Christianity can blend into the African culture. So all this while, it's just syncretism that has been going on. So they didn't know which part of African culture to mix with it and which one not to mix with it. I will give you one example of a politician recently. They call him Father Mbaka. I think he's a pastor, not a politician. If you know him.
Yeah.
He tried to play some drama recently between Buhari and Atiku. He favored, he's trying to, I don't know, he gave them some funny prophecy like that. So when I just look at the man, I saw these local African oracles. I think I thought to myself, I said, this man, his great grandparent might be some these local traditional oracles. It's just that the gift is in him. It's just that he's modernized now. He's just a Christian oracle. He uses the gift.
Babalawo.
Exactly, Babalawo. It's just that this time around, he just changed the face of his God. Instead of those idols he has in his house now, he's a Christian God now. He's just doing it. You know, what they actually do is that they use their gift, their talent to put fear mongering on people.
Yeah.
For their selfish interest. So I saw that huge display in him. So this is what Africans have been plagued with, syncretism. So it is okay. Our culture is very beautiful. Christianity is also beautiful. But how can we blend these two things together? Because like this video you just showed now, you said something very important. You talked about their dance, that the dance that they're doing, the ballet dance, has a meaning. The people that are watching, they are receiving a communication, and only them understand. And I also understand that there's this same style in Africa, like that local drum that they beat in Yoruba language.
Yeah, bata.
Exactly. It communicates certain messages to people.
Yeah.
It communicates our African dance.
Like talking drums.
Exactly. So the way the leg move, the way the pattern of the body, the eyes, everything has a meaning. But there's no single intellectual in Africa currently that is writing about that, trying to develop what those dance actually mean. People just look at it, they think it's an entertainment, but there are deep meaning behind it, and nobody is trying to analyze those things. There are no documentaries about it explaining, which we can actually do to commercialize this thing for tourist reasons.
You are talking my mind, because I have a burden to do that. I want to develop that particular dance, Bata dance. When I get to Nigeria, I want to form a troupe. And I want us to make it very popular. I want us to downplay this hop hop, or what they call this thing young people do now.
Hip hop.
What?
Hip hop.
Hip hop. You know, I'm not a fan of all those things. I would rather develop this Bata, the traditional. I think we are rich in those things.
We are rich, because as you were saying, you said this their dance. It has meaning. It communicates a lot. The same thing with the African dance. There are African dance, if you look at it, like the Rwandan dance, they are imitating a bird, the way they flow with their feather. So people that are watching might not understand, but if somebody beside, probably a form of documentary, explain to the people a theme and tell them, look, when the leg move this way, it means this. When the hand move this way, it means this. And when they
I actually plan to create an institute for development of those culture, Ifa, to get science from Ifa, mathematics from Ifa, culture from it, poetry from it, dances from it, and develop it as a whole institution that people could be going there to get degrees.
Yes.
So you are absolutely right.
Yes, so watching this video today and this teaching, the thing just, because that was exactly what I was asking you that day. I wanted to hear this. I wanted to understand because this has been a very big burden to me because I live here in France. I visit almost all the museums here, big museums, and I saw our artifact there. They guard them there preciously. Thousands of millions of, I don't know, France, I think France welcome about 1 point something million tourists every year, annually. More than that, if I'm not mistaken, they come to visit France.
7 million. For France has 7 million tourists every year.
So you can imagine the number. So they visit this local African museum, collection of different artifacts, all these things, you see them there, and the African artifacts are so well preserved, they pay huge. The first time I came, I visited there, I was sad. I saw the way they put them in very fine glasses with fine lighting. So, and I saw a pastor in Nigeria, he was trying to burn down a shrine. He even burned down the shrine. It wasn't a shrine, it was actually a very old tree in the community that has been there for thousands of years. So he just felt that the tree invoked some kind of power, and they decided to burn the tree down. And then, so I discovered that Africans are unable to harmonize this Christianity with our traditional culture. I'm not saying the bad aspect of it, the syncretic aspect of it, but I'm talking about the aesthetics, the philosophy, the art, the poetry. It should be able to blend, because look at how those white people are dressed. They don't know how to dress any other way because that is their culture, that is their traditional dressing. African dressing too should not be looked upon, should not be frowned upon, because most African Christians today hate their tradition. They hate their culture because it's only the bad aspect that has been promoted through Nollywood movies and other things. So today, and the fact that we hate that our culture, it causes these feelings of inferiority. We try to copy the Europeans. So that we cannot be like the Europeans. We will never be like them because we don't think in the same way. So we have to find a way to harmonize, to respect our culture, to try to blend, to modernize it. I think that is the right way to try to modernize it, to adapt to this trajectory, the current trajectory that is going on now. So this is a very important question. How can Christianity blend with the African culture? So I'm very, very interested in that. I wish one day we can be able to work together on this, the project you see you're developing, because I developed a very huge interest in that. I've been working and studying the sociocultural pattern, the psychological, the social activity, what motivates people to act in it. So I'm actually reading a book currently about the social system, how different race, different groups of people, how the Chinese philosophy, the African philosophy, the Arab philosophy, their different way of viewing the world, an anthropological way of viewing the world, what they think, how they think, what actually their value system, different value system, to be able to understand this thing. So this video, I don't know what to say about it, but I don't know how you can get that as with the teaching that you really address it today. And I don't know what next you talk about, but it's very important that Africans collectively get to understand how they can be able to find a way to harmonize. Because I think, to me, this is the most important teaching. Because this is the biggest challenge that Africans have had since the advent of Christianity in Africa. Because they have been struggling to find a way to blend it. And when they don't understand it, they reject it. And rejecting it causes feeling of inferiority. You know, they were fighting each other today. Some of them are even refusing their children to speak their language. You see a Yoruba person, he tell you that his children only speak English. You see them, they are rejecting their names, they are rejecting their traditional names. They are picking European names, and Europeans don't pick African names. So a Frenchman don't pick Chinese name or Japanese name. Only Africans do that because they have accepted this. So there's this clash, there's this cultural clash, there is this imbalance that we need to find it. If we don't, it's going to cause a very huge problem. Because as you said in one of your teaching, because this teaching will attack the cultural value, to attack the value system. The mind has to be changed to value what we have. Because even if we have infrastructural development, if the value system is not changed, if we're not be able to accept our culture, there's no way we can move forward. So thank you so much for this teaching.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Innocent. Thank you. All right. Yes, teacher. So that is, at least we're able to receive one call today. One caller today, So I'll be I will be coming again in the evening tonight. We'll be discussing the Elijah challenge with Israel Balogun tonight. So that is 7 o'clock our time, which will be 5 o'clock British time and 6 o'clock Nigerian time. So in a few hours time. But before then, in about 40 minutes time, Mayowa will be back to also discuss Elijah challenge. So thank you so much. We'll see you in a few hours. Thank you. Peace.